Hello friends. Today we are here to discuss about the second chapter microorganism. In the last video we already discussed about some useful microorganisms in which we discussed about the making of bread and docility and how they are useful in medical. But now in this part we are going to discuss about how they are important to us in agriculture. The bacterium rhizobium lives in the root nodules of plants such as gram, pea, and bean. These bacteria absorb the nitrogen of atmosphere and convert it into the nitrates, which serves as the natural fertilizers for plant. As you already discussed this in the first chapter, that how crop rotation help us to for the better growth of the crop. This is the only reason the bacteria, rhizobium bacteria, that renew the nitrogen or fix the nitrogen for the next plant. So some blue green algae can also fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Like in cleaning in environment, how microorganisms are effective for the cleaning of environment. In this they play a very major role. For example, microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, and protozoa help by decomposing the tissue of the dead organism. They just decompose the break the tissue of the dead organisms to get their food. Without bacteria, piles of dead organisms would cover the earth. So if bacteria are not exist, then there are number of dead bodies on the earth because they can't be decomposed without the help of microorganisms. So when the microorganisms decompose organic matter, they break down plants and animals tissues into simple substances which are restored to the soil. They are just broken down to such an extent so that they can mix up with the soil and produce or replenish the nutrients in the soil for the other plants and animals. The nutrients that were taken from the soil by the plants and animals are restored and used again by the living organisms. Some bacteria decompose sewage and other wastes in water. This is the natural method of keeping the environment free from pollution. As you can see that, like whatever the human waste is produced, it can also be decomposed with the help of the microorganisms. Like in sewage, almost each and everything is just decomposed in such a manner that they can mix with the soil easily and can produce nutrients and can provide nutrients to the plants and animals. Some This is the natural method of keeping the environment free from pollution. Since algae can photosynthesize, they give off oxygen. It is the thought that most of the oxygen that we have on the earth was initially produced by the algae in the oceans. Algae is very important part because they are providing oxygen to the aquatic animals, like they are in oceans and sea and in rivers, in ponds, each and everywhere algae is helping to produce the oxygen. Some other uses of microorganisms also can be used in some other methods. Like certain bacteria and protozoa normally live in their digestive system of some animals such as cow, goat, and sheep. They help the animal digest grass and plant eaten by breaking down cellulose, which the animals themselves cannot do. Like tapeworm and all the other microorganisms, or you can say parasites, that live in the body of the other animals to help them to break their down their food in the proper manner and make it digestive for them. Bacteria are also useful in tobacco, leather, and jute industries. For example, tanning to make animal skin into leather by treating it with chemicals. So, is done with the help of bacteria. In the jute industries, jute plants are submerged in water where bacterial reaction separates the fibers from the rest of the tissues. The fibers are then woven into the jute cloth. So they are even helpful in each and every part of the industry also. In the villages, animal waste, leafy waste, and from crops, etc., is decomposed by bacteria in the absence of oxygen to produce methane, which is used as a fuel. It is one of the chief constituent of the biogas. Like animal waste, have you ever seen biogas plant? It is also maintained by the microorganisms. In the way or the other, they are maintained by the microorganisms. Now, harmful microorganisms. If there is good about anything, then everything thing have the pros and cons. So if they are good, they are bad also. Microorganisms causes diseases. What type of diseases? There are number of diseases that get produced by the microorganisms. They are known as pathogen or germs. To cause disease, the germs have to first enter our body. They can enter through a number of ways. What ways they have? Through air, through food and water, through direct contact, through insects, through cuts and wounds. So there are number of methods through which they can enter in our body. Through air, when a person suffering from common cold or flu sneezes, cough or spits, germs are released in the air. A healthy person breathing this air can get infected. Some diseases that spread through air are common cold, flu, chickenpox, mumps, tuberculosis, measles, and polio. So through air they can enter in our body, like when we sneeze, when we cough, or when we spit. The germs that releases in the air can produce a number of diseases also, like common cold, flu, chickenpox, and all that. Through food and water, cholera, typhoid, and hepatitis, we can get basically these three through food and water. Through direct contact, like with the sick person, like a ringworm, common cold, flu, chickenpox. Through insects, there are a number of diseases that we get from the insects, like mosquitoes, flies, fleas. These are carrier of germs. For example, the female Anopheles mosquito carries the malaria germ. Malaria we got from the insects. When it bites a healthy person, she can get infected with malaria. When houseflies sit on a dirt, germs stick to their bodies. When they sit on the food, they transfer the germs to the food. So whatever the person is consuming, the food becomes sick. The female Aedes mosquito acts as the carriers for the dengue virus. So the through mosquitoes, basically malaria and dengue is spread, and housefly is also responsible for the spread of diseases through cuts and wounds, like tetanus. This is the basic problem through which we have to suffer if we have the cuts and wounds. Microorganisms can also cause diseases in animal and plants. For example, anthrax is a disease that affects human and cattle. It is caused by bacterium. Like foot and mouth disease, it is caused by a virus in cattle. Citric canner is a bacterial disease that affects trees and citrus fruits and is spread by the air. So there are number of diseases that can be spread through the microorganisms. Yellow vein mosaic, which affects vegetable like bhindi, is a viral disease spread by the insect. Rusk of wheat is a fungal disease spread by air and seeds. These are the very common problems or diseases among the plants and animals. So, that's all for today. In the next video, we will discuss about the preventing the spread of the communicable disease. How can we save or protect ourselves from these types of diseases? Thanks for watching.